Hey everybody, welcome back to Faraday Research. It's Saturday night and it is, holy cow, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I went Transformer crazy again tonight. So from the last video I made this Transformer here. It's a Toroid Transformer, and I'm using 18 gauge wire with this one at 20 winds and 5 winds. So the rule of thumb that I'm finding out with these transformers is you got to go 1/4 of the wavelength. Okay, so if you got 20 winds here, you only have 5 winds on the primary, and this works pretty good. In the last video, I showed how it performed. Now this one here seems to be a little bit low powered for the load that I'm actually trying to pull, because when I fired this up, maybe I'll hook it up. I also made a new coil transformer tonight, and here it is, and it's quite large comparing the other one to this one. You know, you can see the difference in the size, and they're both ferrite cores. They are slightly magnetic, not too strong, but they do have a little bit of magnetism on them. I can check that with my, it's got a little bit of magnetism. It's not very strong. So I decided to make a new coil transformer tonight. So I have, say, the primary here. So what I did was the secondary's got 32 winds of 18 gauge wire, okay? And I dropped it down to the primary. I went to a thicker gauge wire. I put it at, I believe this is 16 gauge speaker wire. And I put 32 and 8. So I got 8 windings and then 32 windings on this one. So yeah, so it's quite a step up from what I was doing with the previous transformer. Okay. Now, I've also got way better performance with this guy, and I'll show that in a minute. So I'm going to put this one aside for a second, and I'm going to get the small one here. And I want to show you the difference between the two and the performance difference. So one thing with the Don Smith generator, you got to learn how to build transformers. I'm not the best yet, but I'm learning. I'm starting to get the hang of it now. So as long as you do 1/4 of the wavelength of the secondary. Okay, so these are both, could either be step up transformers or step down. Either step up or step down. All right, so I'm going to hook up the small one first. Okay, so I am going to do step up. So I'm going to hook this wire up here. Forgive me if the camera's all over the place. And we got this guy here. Okay, that's the main power in. And now I'm going to hook up the light to the secondary, so I'm stepping it up. All right. So to get this guy going, this guy is going to need a lot more input voltage to get this light going. Okay, this is 25 watt incandescent bulb. The reason why I'm using the incandescent bulb is to show true wattage. Now this one's 25 watts. I'm not going to hook any meters up in the demonstration. It'll just take too long to do it. But these are the ones that you put in your refrigerator. So they get bright, but they're not like a regular light bulb where they're, you can't even see it. But you can see that it's generating amperage, and I'm getting heat off it, because when I touch it, it is very warm. So that means I'm pulling amps. So I'm going to compare this one with the big one. So this one here is going to take a lot more input voltage, especially the amperage, to get it going. So I'm going to get this thing set at about 10.5 volts. All right, I'm going to fire it up. Okay, so I've got it going. All right, I'm going to bump it up to 11. So I'm hitting at 11 volts, I'm getting over an amp draw. So it's about 11.5 watts, almost 12 watts, and I got it going. All right. translation, that's 11,000, almost 11 kVA output of power coming off the disruptive discharge. Now I could bring the gap closer, but what's going to happen is the amps are going to start going way up. It'll probably hit over 2 amps. All right, so that's that one. All right, I want to keep the spark gaps at the same spot for the demo so you can see the difference. So I'm going to keep it at 11.5 volts, and it was hitting an amp and a quarter. All right, to get it going. So keep that in your mind. And I'm going to hook up the next transformer here. So I'm going to disconnect this. Disconnect the light. Disconnect this transformer. Put this off to the side. Now I'm going to get the big guy here. So I'm going to hook up the primary. This is the one with 8 turns of 16 gauge speaker wire. All right, so I got the primary hooked up. And now I'm going to hook up the light to the secondary. Now this has got 32 windings of 18 gauge wire. Actually, it looks almost like it's 20 gauge. I think it's 20 gauge. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, so now I got it hooked up. So in the last test, it was 1.2 amps at 11.5 volts. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it down to about 9 volts. Let's go 9 volts. And you'll see the amperage draw is going to be a lot less, and I'm going to get the same, if not better, performance. So I got 9.5 volts at 750 milliamps, and I got the same performance. So this one's putting out more power. It's stepping up the power that much better. Now I'm going to crank it up a little bit higher. Let's go to 10. So even at 10.5 volts, I'm only drawing 970 milliamps, and it's bright. Like for this type of a light bulb, it's very bright. So I know I'm putting out 25 watts, and I'm putting in 10.5 watts. It's about 1 amp, and it's fully illuminated. It's building up heat. I can feel the heat coming off it. So it is generating a lot of heat. So yeah, it's the transformers, guys. So learn how to build them. There's a lot of good literature online on how to build transformers. So it's 1/4 the wavelength. So whatever number you choose for your secondary, divide it by 4. And that's the number you get. Try to get an even number. So instead of like 30 turns, I had to go 32 to get 8. So try to keep it as an even number. So yeah, it works great. Look, 8.5 volts. I'm only pulling 680 milliamps, and this thing's pretty bright. I could go higher if I wanted to. Let's go 9.5. And that thing is pretty well fully illuminated. So I'm going to do more testing with meters and stuff, but I have to be careful because I am using high voltage here. So it's very easy to blow up meters. So that's why I'm using incandescent bulbs. And I know how much this bulb is rated at. And this one's rated at 25 watts. And I know how much watts is going in. So I can kind of get an idea of where I stand. I've already blown up a few meters, so I got to be careful, especially working with this high voltage stuff. And yeah, if you haven't become a subscriber, bottom right hand corner, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, I have my Patreon, my PayPal donate if you like what I'm doing. So yeah, the Don Smith system is the real deal. And I seem to be making some grounds with this. Yeah, it's working out pretty good. So you can make a system that can potentially run a house. So now it's a matter of frequency. RF is going through this, so you would have to put it through an RF choke to smoothen out the RF inside the pulsing, because it's pulsing at a very, very high rate, because this thing's rated at about 43 kilocycles. So, when you're running regular appliances and stuff like that, the 43 kilocycle is not going to work. You need 60 hertz. So you actually have to control the frequency that's coming off this. So, like, it's one thing to run lights with it. Yeah, you can do it. But when it comes to running, like, fans or heaters or whatever and stuff like that, you need something that's going to run off 60 hertz. Now, you could go the other route and you can step it right down and charge batteries, you know, and put it through a full wave bridge rectifier. So you really have to really start getting some math going here for the transformers and starting to step down the power properly and get the proper frequency. As soon as you get the voltage and frequency proper, then you can run your appliances safely. I can run this in the kilohertz range and it doesn't do damage because it's a heated element. So, like, say like a heater or this, I can run it at a high frequency and it won't damage anything. So yeah, food for thought. If you have any questions, comments, leave it below. This ferrite core I actually purchased on Amazon. You have to look because these things come and go and then they go out of stock and stuff. So you kind of have to go periodically on Amazon and try to find cores. This one, I think it was a 90 millimeter wide. It's quite large. This one's a 2-inch diameter, so you can see the difference in the size. So yeah, this one here is not too bad. It's not too heavy, and you can do some stuff with it. I might experiment more with this small core, but it does work. And now I'm happy I actually got this big honking transformer core working too. So it seems to be working pretty good for me. So yeah, did I miss anything? I don't think I did. So yeah, so we'll chalk it up for another good video. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you've seen tonight, and we'll see everybody soon.